I want to talk about logistically what happens when the wind blows south. Because when that happens, when one of these fires erupts, and let's say not just one, not just two, let's say all the batteries go up in flames and it goes south, the wind, now it becomes a Somers issue. And so let's think logistically about what we would do as a community to deal with this. So let's talk about sheltering in place. Immediately, when people are told to shelter in place and one of these fires erupts, all households have to shut down air conditioning and heating and any parts of the house that have open ventilation. So if it's really cold out, well, think about that. If it's really hot out, think about that. If you've got small children and babies that have to be in a temperature between 60 and 70 degrees, think about that. Think about the fact that when a battery farm that was only 12 megawatts caused shelter in place evacuations for a few days, we're looking at 116 megawatt up here. So think about that, okay? So let's talk about what happens after the fire, okay? We've all sheltered in place. Hopefully everybody, did okay. Well, after that, all of the filters in all of the homes in whatever distance has been deemed within the parameter, okay? Let's say it's a few miles. Every single one of those homes has numerous filters in their house. Every single one of those filters has to be replaced. The homes have to be power washed. Nobody can drink the water because many of us are well. And so if you don't have enough water in your home to get through that amount of time, what are you going to do? What are your kids going to do? What are your grandkids going to do? You got to hope that you have enough water, you have enough food. After the fires, who is going to come and test the water and test the air and test the ground? Because in talking to some of my friends in some of the highest government agencies that deal with these fires and the aftermath of them, all of these things have to be tested before it is safe to go outside, to drink your water, to let your kids play outside, to let them touch the ground, to let them touch the ground and put their hands on their face. These are things that we have to think about, okay? In East Hampton, there's a 5 megawatt lithium battery farm. Of course, there was a fire. It was a few hundred feet from the nearest residence. This is a 116 megawatt battery farm. So let's just use that as a best practice, right? Let's just use that as an example. So just with simple math, you're looking at, it really should be, let's say 7,000 feet, okay? Some of my friends just spoke about how close it was to their homes. That's not thousands of feet. That's not 7,000 feet. I want to talk about the fact that while we do have a lot of data on these battery farms, and we are seeing that they do have the tendency to explode, okay? The thermal runaway, we all kind of get the picture. The aftermath of what chemicals are used to actually clean these things up. We're talking about toxic foams. We're talking about things that are going to go into the landfill. We're talking about things that are going to go into the water. I don't think any of us signed on to be guinea pigs. And the reason that I say guinea pigs, or rather rats, right? Anytime there is a research study and we want to look at safety, whether it's a drug, whether it's an environment, we usually don't use humans first, right? But these lithium battery farms are really still in the infancy of their creation. So we really don't know any data or acute, short-term, intermediate, or long-term effects on overall health. We don't know the impact on organ systems, on the lungs, on the heart, on the tissue of our dermis. We don't know the impact. And I don't think any of us here in Somers, in Mayapack, none of us signed on to be in some sort of longitudinal study to demonstrate the overall impact on safety, wellness, physical health in the short or the long term. Show me a 116 megawatt lithium battery farm that has been placed a couple hundred feet from residences, put the whole thing up on fire, put some people there, maybe just put some animals. Let's study them. Let's see what happens a week, 2 weeks, a year, 2 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years? Let's look at the medical records. Let's look and see the overall impact of health on the animals, let's say, that live there. Do you want to be one of those guinea pigs? Do you want your children to be those guinea pigs? Do you want your grandchildren to be those guinea pigs? Who's going to pay for their hospital bills? What are you going to say to them when you kept them here, when you kept them in the homes, in the environment, in the town that you paid hundreds of thousands of dollars in tax bills that you thought was safe, that you thought the people sitting up here, sitting in these rooms were going to protect them? What are you going to say to your kids? Well, we thought it was safe. The government said it was safe. The state said it was safe, but we don't know that it's safe. And so until you can demonstrate to me that this is safe, that there isn't going to be a detrimental impact to my health, to my kids' health, how can we allow this to take place? It's just crazy to me. I'm somebody that believes in science. I believe in data, and I'm sure you all do too. So I'll ask you for a couple of things. For Somers, we ask that you put a moratorium on the ability to build these lithium battery farms here in Somers, putting zoning laws or codes, language I'm really not familiar with, putting something in place that at least puts it 7,000 feet away from the nearest home if it's a 116 megawatt battery farm, but put it somewhere where that's not in our backyards, or just say no to it altogether. And please do everything in your power to help us fight what is being proposed in our backyards, because this is not just going to affect Mayapack. This is going to affect all of us. We see the wind, we see the storms. So just think about that. When you go home tonight and you close your eyes and you do your prayers and you're praying for safety of your loved ones, safety of your kids, safety of your grandkids, think about that, because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about people, and we are not guinea pigs and we are not rats, and none of us signed on to be some longitudinal study to demonstrate the overall impact on health and wellness to ourselves and our families. Thank you.
Thank you.